I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. On my mic. Call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council this January 18th, 2022. It is 6:30 and we are in the City Council chambers of West Valley City Hall. We have all members in attendance tonight, and we will now turn the time over for our Inside the City video.
Hi, Detective Devin Navarro with West Valley Police. We're out here with our annual giving tree. This year we are representing 200 kids, almost 200 kids from 70 families.
Hi, my name is Craig Thomas. I'm with the West Valley City Neighborhood Services Division. Today we are wrapping up our annual tradition of the Giving Tree program, which started roughly 2 decades ago.
So we have our mobile command post, we have Old Dominion Trucking who's helping us out with the truck, and then all the bags. So there's about 8 officers. We're driving house to house and dropping everything off.
Each of those families received a variety of gifts and actually a meal box this year, all provided through community partners and donors and residents who supplied all the gifts or the money to buy the gifts for the families. This is a big undertaking for West Valley City and our West Valley City Police Department. It does start roughly in October, November timeline. We reach out to our community partners to identify families that are in need within West Valley City. We also work with our Victim Advocates Office to help and assist those families that are in crisis.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Things are crazy in the world. We had a huge snowstorm yesterday. That put a little damper on stuff, but it's that time of year where we get to give back a little bit and do something a little different. Today we're out there helping out these families that maybe are struggling a little bit this time of year, and it means a lot to the guys. Our unit, the community-oriented policing unit, does this every year. It started out with one family. We just passed a hat around, thought this would be cool. This year, like I said, almost 70 families, so it's a good thing.
Merry Christmas.
Not just the kids, but the parents. They're the ones that are struggling. They don't, they're having a hard time. We get to fill in, drop in. The kids are seeing the cops as a, maybe a good thing this time, and it's a really neat thing to do.
Right? Blue's Clues? How can you go wrong?
The Giving Tree program has been an amazing opportunity for West Valley City. It's one of our favorite times of year. It's one of my favorite events that we do every single year. This means a lot to the families, and it means a lot to us to be able to do this for the families too. So we hope these families and everybody that has helped with the Giving Tree this year has a very happy and Merry Christmas and holiday season.
All right. I don't know if you can do it. Give me a 5.
Just stay warm, stay safe, and Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho.
Very nice program. Thank you. We will now go to our minutes of July 11th, 2022. Is there any discussion or motion on the minutes?
I'd move to approve those minutes, Mayor.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, those pass unanimously. We now have our public comment period. Our comment period is limited to 30 minutes. Any person wishing to comment shall limit their comments to 5 minutes. Upon recognition by the mayor, you will approach the microphone. If you did not sign in, would you please give your name and address at that time? All comments should be directed to the mayor. No person addressing the council during the comment period shall be allowed to comment more than once during the comment period. And speakers should not expect any debate with the mayor, the council, or the city staff. So I'll now turn the time over to our first person is Daryl Curtis.
I think that was a mistake from last week.
Okay, thank you. We'll now turn to Jim Visak.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, I want to recognize West Valley City Arts. I should have done it right when we came back after the vacations. The winter series, Councilman Christensen, his wife, and myself went to all the concerts. the singing, and it's great. It's free for the public. The summertime, I went to all the concerts that were out there with the exception of the first one. And it's a great thing that West Valley City has an arts program with a lot of diversity in it. I saw Councilman Norfeld there several times, Christensen. This is something the citizens need to know about and need to get out and be part of. It's a great benefit to the city. Today in the meeting over there, the police did the strategic plan meeting. I love the way that she put out the information about the police department and our parking compliance. 4 parking compliance specialists, love the name, did 13,847 tickets, 4 of them. In comparison with our code enforcement, who have 9, would be nice to be called code enforcement or compliance specialists, they only wrote 2,945 courtesy notices. The courtesy notice is the first notice that citizens get. 977 of them went to violations. Double the staff, a lot less. And, you know, to me, I think our code enforcement people could be doing one a day at least. The last couple of weeks, you guys have been talking about overpasses, underpasses for Bangalore Highway. In the strategic plan meeting, I know you're going to talk about it again. A couple citizens have come up and said, oh, it'd be nice to have the underpass. At an approximately $100 million cost, I think our lights, sidewalks throughout the city, we could use that $100 million a lot wiser throughout the city. And that's a guesstimate number. It could be less if they get grants, if they can get UDOT to step up more. But, you know, I think that money could be used for the sidewalks. We need a lot of them. Our lights, I know we just put the $3 on there. That's not very popular. But we could use that money throughout the city better than having an overpass versus an underpass. And, you know, to me, I go out to West Jordan, South Jordan all the time and go over both of them. It's not that big of a deal. So that's all I have tonight.
Okay. Randy? Randy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm glad you're giving me 30 minutes tonight. I didn't believe that when you told me that, so.
That's fine.
I had to do that, make me smile. Every once in a while, I smile. I do, swear. First off, tonight, I'm not gonna play this recording that drives me nuts when I hear it. I know you guys heard it 100 times already. The racers, racing cars, rocket cars, whatever you want to call them. They're so prevalent still. Cameras. I see the weathermen all the time. They're flicking switches to go to different cameras on I-15, 215, North Salt Lake, because they got these cameras on the highways. I think we ought to think about doing that on our West Valley intersections, just in case we have another accident like we did 2 weekends ago, Saturday afternoon. A ricer hit another car and they had to use them extractors to get them people out of that car. And I don't know, I never heard of what happened. You know, they're still in the hospital or what happened. That's what we're always afraid of, because I got grandkids that go to the stores right there, Arctic Circle. They got to cross the crosswalk. They go to the market right there. Kids are always at the crosswalk, coming and going, whether it's school, going to the store, going to get some candy, whatever. Dispatch. Been talking to a bunch of my neighbors, and a few of them didn't understand what I told them. When you call dispatch and you tell them there's a problem in your neighborhood, with these rice rockets or anything in general, I told them, don't give your address. Dispatch takes that address, calls West Valley Police. Am I correct? They call West Valley Police, and these guys got ham radios. They got, what's that word I'm looking for, where they know you're calling something in? Can you help me? No?
I think we know. You're good to just address us. I think we know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. I lost it. What is it? Police scanners. And we know this for a fact. My neighbor a couple nights ago, he said, hey, Randy, I called dispatch. Next thing you know, the cars are running up and down his street. More than usual, we're getting the loudest cars, and then you're getting their followers, their lookouts, what we call lookouts. We're talking 15, 20, maybe 30 cars hitting the same blocks, side streets. That's got to stop. I didn't have all my notes. Do I get 10 more minutes still?
A minute 40.
Minute 4. I'm thinking. I'm not as excited as I usually get because I love hanging out with you guys. Oh yeah, another thing. Look what this has done to me. I haven't shaved for 3 weeks. I'm getting lazy or too stressed out or not enough sleep. My wife says, you better straighten up. A couple of the other neighbors called in. We got videos of the same cars. These certain same cars that we got videos and pictures of off our ring, pulling up and just revving them loud cars and just peeling their tires up. And they can't catch them cars. And I'll tell you why, it's because they got the scanners and they got these lookouts. Their lookouts are everywhere. I challenge you guys, next time you go home, even at nighttime or in the daytime, look to your left, look to your right, look straight ahead of you, look behind you. Watch how many of these cars are zipping around you. It's not necessarily the race cars. It's just their lookouts. Family members, friends, they're all on ham radios or their cell phone. And that's all I have to say. Just keep your eyes open, look and see what I see. There's thousands of them out there through our valley. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's all on our sign up sheet. Was there anybody that didn't have a chance to sign in that would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on to our city manager. Would you wish to make a comment?
No comments tonight, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. To the council, any comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the real business. We gotta find it. All right, so tonight we are going to find or appoint a replacement for District 3. And I'm going to turn the time over to Mr. Pyle to introduce the process.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, we have the opportunity tonight for the first time in a long, long time to go through the process of selecting and filling a vacant council member seat. And we're all honored to be here and do that. And we certainly appreciate the participation of those who had the guts or were gluttons enough for the pain to go through that process. So thanks to them. In a moment here, I'm going to turn the time over to Ms. K-Mac, the city recorder, to talk about as the candidates come up, how that process will work. But first, I just wanted to mention 2 things, just sort of procedurally. We're asking that the applicants that are in the audience, if they would please step outside until their names are called for their interview. And the reason we're doing this is just out of fairness to the candidates that would be interviewed first. It's not required. This is a open and public meeting, so nobody has to do that, but just out of politeness and or consideration for the other candidates, we would ask them to do that. If they do that, Mr. Flores, who is standing in the back corner there, will go out to the lobby and get those candidates in order, one at a time, to come in and participate. So with that, I'm going to turn a moment over to Ms. K-Mac, and she'll explain how the process itself will work from a timing standpoint.
Great.
So we will ask that each candidate come to the podium here. They will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. And then I will ask them each 2 questions that were predetermined by the mayor and city council. And they'll have 2 minutes to answer each of those questions. The candidates are welcome to stay in here after their interview is concluded. And then we'll just go through that and turn it back over to the mayor once it's concluded. So I believe our first candidate is William Whetstone.
So as Mr. Flores is going out and getting Mr. Whetstone, I thought I'd also ask Mayor,
Yes.
certainly during the process, if it would be helpful, we can also step by step explain what other procedural things will happen, maybe after the candidates have been interviewed, as far as how the vote will proceed or anything like that, that you might have questions of.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So while we're waiting, I will say that Nicole has explained this procedure to all the candidates, so they should understand what's before them. She was mainly just explaining for a refresher for us.
Hello, Mr. Whetstone. So per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then I will ask you 2 questions that were previously determined by the mayor and the city council. So please just go ahead and begin your 2-minute introduction when you are ready.
Perfect, thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is William Whetstone. I've been a resident of West Valley City for the last 30 years. My wife and I have raised our 4 daughters here. It's a city that I love, and I want nothing but the best for. I currently work at American Express. I'm the director over community reinvestment. I manage a portfolio of community development investments. My position has provided me with insight into the importance of public and private partnerships and how they can meet a critical need in the community and helping with affordable housing, economic development. I'm also serving I'm part-time in the Utah Air National Guard. I've been in the National Guard for the last 17 years. My time in the military has taught me how to be reliable, consistent, and meticulous about planning. In addition to my military service, I have spent the last 8 years on the West Valley City Board of Adjustments. Sitting on the board has expanded my knowledge about city zoning ordinances, and it's allowed me to serve as sort of a relief valve for residents and businesses that are in our city. I also serve on 7 nonprofit boards and committees. Serving with nonprofits has broadened my viewpoint, and it's introduced me to unique ways to solve for community development. Now, one area I am passionate about is affordable housing. We know Utah is experiencing a housing crisis, but I also know that West Valley City already has a lot of affordable housing in our city limits. And even our own city housing plan has indicated that over 67% of our housing is considered affordable. So I think going forward, it's important to put policies in that can help maintain the affordability of those units and also make sure that those units are kept safe and they're maintained well for the residents that live there. Now, Mayor and council members, you certainly have a difficult decision to make today. We have a lot of great candidates here tonight, but I feel I'm the best candidate because I have a unique perspective.
Thank you for your response. Your 2 minutes are up, so we'll just have to move on to the next question. I apologize.
No problem.
All right, so you'll have 2 minutes for each of these questions. The first question is, why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
Well, I think being a member of the city council, I've always had inclination to do civic duty. I've been on the Board of Adjustments for the last 8 years. I serve in the military. I want to be involved in the community. Our city has made great strides. Like I said, I've been here for 30 years. I moved here when I was 13. In a way, I've grown up with the city. I was about the same age as the city when I moved in. And I've seen the tremendous growth that our city has experienced. And I feel like I'd be on the shoulders of giants as we move forward and continue to make progress in our city. I just want to take that torch and continue the progress and the great work that's been going on.
Okay, the second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
Oh, 50 years from now, that's a great question. I think my vision would be to continue. So we have such a diverse, we have the most diverse community in the state of Utah. And that's one thing that I love about this city. I'd like to see more things that are inclusive of all of our residents. I love the cultural center and how it brings others together. I'd like to see those types of developments come to our city and help those who have different ideas, different perspectives, be able to feel included and feel a part of the community. The more you have people feeling part of the community, the more ownership they'll take, and the better off our city will be.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay here in the council chambers for the rest of the meeting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, Mr. Nutman. So per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself. And then I will ask you 2 questions that were previously determined by the mayor and city council. You will have 2 minutes to respond to each of those questions. So please go ahead and begin your 2-minute introduction when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Alan Nauman, and I am excited to throw my hat in this ring. Congratulations to the mayor as the cause. I have come before you in support of HB 411 before, the renewable process with Rocky Mountain Power and 15 other local jurisdictions here in Utah, which I still hope you pass. I have decades of skills in the private sector. I'd like to benefit West Valley City. I've owned businesses. I've worked with others to expand them. I'm a volunteer now for SCORE.org, a mentor for businesses, a free service funded by the Small Business Administration. Excuse my reading, but it's 2 minutes, so I wanted to put it on paper. I intend to use my decades of work in the construction trades to look at solutions for affordable housing. I switched industries in 2009 from the granite trade of my forefathers to the more sustainable solar industry. I also install EV charging stations and emergency battery storage systems. I support a new sustainability department for our city. We need to find ways to reduce our carbon footprint and, more importantly, reduce harmful emissions. We can do better as a city to reduce our emissions and become a better leader in the state for air quality. I also look forward to building strong relationships in a very diverse community, which is one of my favorite parts of West Valley City. As part of the Salt Lake Interfaith Roundtable, I've been a guest at the Sikh Temple and the Muslim Mosque right here in West Valley City. Part of my family is Native American. I currently serve on the board of the Native-led nonprofit SLC Air Protectors, so I have an affinity with diversity, and I do so support diverse communities. That's 0.
Thank you for
Holy
your
smokes,
response.
I'm almost done too.
Your 2 minutes are up. Here's your next question. So the first question that we ask, and again, you have 2 minutes. Why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
Well, I think it's part of the decision-making in the whole city. It is a place to lead, so businesses and citizens can have a organizational support to a vision, a place to go for our city. We're the largest, second largest in the city. We have a responsibility to be leaders. And I think we've been on the quiet side in Utah. And so part of my interest is being a bigger part of the Utah stage because we're a huge city. And we have a lot to offer because of our diversity, I believe.
Okay, the second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
Vision for 50 years from now. Holy smokes, I have no idea. There'll be flying carts around. We won't need the electric vehicle chargers anymore. We'll have a hovercraft. I have no idea. 50 years, I think that it will still be gardening. There'll still be very basic things that are still here to feed ourselves. I'd like to support more community gardens. And, most of our needs will be totally different by then. Oh my gosh, the engineers, we have to really raise some engineers right here in West Valley City to help with that process. But my vision is closer. I have to admit, I'm really concerned about the next 20 or 10 to 20 years in terms of reducing our emissions. And so I think that with good leadership and a strong community that we can solve huge problems and be a happier community in 50 years because of it.
All right, thank you. You're welcome.
No
to
second chances? Just kidding.
You're welcome to
Thank you
stay
very
here in the council chambers for the rest of the meeting if you'd like. Hello, Mr. Anderson. So per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself. Then I will ask you 2 questions that were determined by the mayor and council previously. You will have 2 minutes to answer each of those questions. So please go ahead and begin your 2-minute introduction when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you, council members and Mayor Lang. I'm not going to talk to you on the original, what I've prepared, like how I'm a 4th generation from Granger. I've spent over a decade having dinner every night with a West Valley councilman and a mayor, and that was my father. I've lived in District 3 for 18 years, and I have worked in District 3 for 28 years, almost 29. I am currently working with a city official to bring a company that we have just split off of to keep them in the area that will bring in $50 million of equity, tax equity to us. What I am going to tell you about my mentors in my life. I've had some awesome mentors from my grandparents, from my father, from my mother. I've also had some awfully awesome young men mentors. I've had Denny Thompson. I've had Howard Condi. I've had Dan Harmon. I've had a group of men that have just helped me immensely in my life. And in that being said, I have also been with the youth since I've moved in here 17 years ago. And me and my wife have helped our youth immensely. We noticed that Meadowlands Park needed bark in the park one year. I contacted the Parks Division and they said, sorry, we can't put it in this year. We don't have the budget. After talking with them for quite some time, we found out they did have the budget for the bark. I said, I'm going to have one of my young men call you and set up fixing that. 2 weeks later, we were in the neighborhood putting bark in the tree, all of the young men, all of the young women. And what turned out to be just a young women's project, young men's project, turned out to be a neighborhood project. We had 5 families.
Thank you for your response. Your 2 minutes are up. So here's the next question. The first question is, why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
Why do I want to be a member of the West Valley City Council? I have a lot to bring to the West Valley City Council. Not only do I live and I'm a resident in District 3, I've worked in District 3 for 29 years almost. I have my finger in about every business down in the industrial area. GCR, for instance, I work at H&E Equipment. GCR is a tire division down the street. We've been taught by Don Wheeler, who was our father company, that we keep our business local, and we do that. We spend $500,000 a year just on tires. But that being said, there's still the residents that need to be addressed. There's problems in the streets, there's crime, there's a great police force we have. There are other things that need to be addressed, but we need to address those people that are actually helping our city, that have just come into our city to work daily and bring great economic. District 3 is the district that is basically what we would call at work the cash cow. We need to keep that up. We need to keep the big companies coming in. We need to keep that money coming into our city. If we don't keep it up, we're going to lose stuff, and we can't afford to lose that. Thank you.
Okay, the second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
Well, that's a hard one. I could have done it 50 years ago, but my vision for West Valley City is going to be the youth in this city are going to be the ones that are running it. It's not going to be us. It's not going to be anybody other than the youth. Excuse me. I have a real soft spot for the youth. They are awesome people. If you don't know, when you have one of these devices that don't work, where do you go? To your kids. That's where we have to focus in the 50 years is our youth. And we have some great programs for our youth. The COP program where they go to recess with the cops. That is an awesome program. We need to expand that. We need to go to our junior highs, to our high schools. We even need to take and get more skate parks in this thing, in this city. That skate park is phenomenal. The kids love it. And we bring people in from all over the city just to go skating. It's a revenue for us. We need to make more of those revenues. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You're welcome to stay here in the council chambers for the rest of the meeting. Hi, Mr. Finch. Per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself. And then I will ask you 2 questions that were previously determined by the mayor and city council, and you will have 2 minutes to answer each of those. So please go ahead and begin your 2-minute introduction when you're ready.
Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I believe, first off, my name is Michael Finch. I believe elected and even those officials that are appointed need to be visible and available to our citizens in West Valley City. If appointed, I will attend all events that I possibly can within the city, within the county and the state that would affect our city and our citizens here. Locally, that would include block parties, National Night Out, Chat with the Chief, West Fest, for which I am the vice chairman this year, and welcoming new and expanding businesses into our community. I would attend county and state meetings where I can promote our great city and will participate in legislation that would involve West Valley City as well. I recently retired and I have the time to promote to events outside of the weekly council meeting. Also, my wife, Lisa, would not mind seeing a little bit less of me around the house now that I'm retired. And that's a fact. Our citizens deserve a city that they're safe in, a city with infrastructure that they're able to get around easily, whether they're walking, biking, or driving a vehicle. As one person, I cannot know or do everything myself to help citizens and businesses that have questions or they have a need. However, I will work closely with Mayor Lang and the council to learn the inner workings of the council. I consider myself to be a great connector of people. I have networked extensively with Chamber West members for the business that I previously owned.
If anyone needed a tradesperson or a service, I could refer to them, still can and still do. I will take my networking skill and work closely with the departments of our city so I can learn how they're structured. I'm not afraid to ask for help. As the saying goes, you don't know what you don't know. I would be honored to represent the citizens of District 3 and all the citizens of West Valley City.
Thank you for your response. Your first question is, why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
Well, I've always wanted to give back to the community. And I'll be real honest with you. If this doesn't work out for me, I want to seek ways that I can possibly get in other committees, participate in other ways within West Valley City to give back to the community. I just think it's very important, especially the less fortunate. If there's ways that I can help those that are in need, whether it's food security, anything like that, that I would like to get involved.
Thank you. The second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
Okay, besides flying cars, things like that. Personally, I've liked the track that West Valley has been on for several years, many years actually. I would like to continue that. Again, I talked about infrastructure. That not only, that includes, water, power, internet type services, make sure that we have broadband available to all of our citizens at a reasonable price. I'd like to see us, we're a very diverse city, which is wonderful. And I know that's going to continue. And I would like to see our councils, our committees, our volunteers to be more diverse as well than they currently are.
All right, thank you. You're welcome to stay here in the council chambers for the rest of the meeting.
Well, thank you very much.
Hello, Mr. McPherson. So per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then I will ask you 2 questions that were previously determined by the mayor and city council, and you'll have 2 minutes to respond to each question. So please go ahead and begin your 2-minute introduction when you're ready.
Okay. Hello, Mayor Lang and city council and Mr. Pyle. Appreciate you giving us this opportunity to come down here and speak. My name is Matt McPherson. I'm originally from Las Vegas. I moved here to Utah about 17 years ago with my wife, my 3 teenage kids. And I've lived in West Valley about 15 of those years. Growing up in Las Vegas, just a little background. My dad owned a landscaping business. I primarily did manual labor most of my life growing up. And at some point decided when I was in my 20s that I wanted to work at a desk behind a computer and air conditioning. So I went to a trade school and got a technical degree. I focused on technology, started my first business in technology in Las Vegas, moved to Utah, and have since been in the business world for a number of years. I run a number of businesses here in Utah, some local, some out of state businesses as well. And I've had the opportunity, I think a rare opportunity after some personal and family hardships, we'll say. I had a rare opportunity to somewhat retire from my business ventures and be more of a caretaker at home. And about 5 years ago in that process, I had an opportunity to get more involved with volunteer work. I've been on the board as the president of our HOA for the last 5-6 years now. And I've been on the West Valley City PD's Professional Standards Review Board. I really enjoyed those interactions with the city in those capacities. I'm just hoping that my experience and my background will be interesting and applicable to what is needed here at the City Council. And I appreciate your time and your willingness to accept my application.
Okay. The first question is, why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
Thank you. I think due to some of the reasons I've already outlined about kind of where I'm at in a financial situation, being somewhat retired, I have a lot of time, and I've tried to devote most of that time to work in my neighborhood, in my community. I guess even starting further back in my own home. I have great pride in in our city, in our neighborhood, in our community, in our city in general. I've really enjoyed my interactions with the city council, the previous mayor, current mayor now, the city manager, with the police department, fire department. I think we have some of the best employees, public employees in the world, frankly, that I've interacted with. And I have tried to make a lot of efforts to be involved with, again, my community, my neighborhood, and at any time and any place beyond that with the city when I can. And purely because of those reasons, and because of my background in business and doing business in Utah, I also am looking forward to more opportunities that we can bring more business here to the city, and more opportunities for more people in different ways. And then as far as community activity as well, is one other issue that I find very important. I don't think that there is enough community involvement, at least not in my particular area and my particular neighborhood and district, and I would love to see more involvement. I think I have a track record of getting people involved when necessary in local matters, and getting them engaged in that. And I'm just hopeful that I can bring that here to the city level as well.
All right, the second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
Ooh, 50 years is a long time. And that vision doesn't necessarily have, I guess, a whole lot maybe in my mind to do with what the city council does. I find that the development of good cities obviously start smaller, neighborhoods, communities, and those are primarily personal decisions that people make, and it comes from either a pride in your own community, or perhaps some engagement, from the from government, to get them involved in that process. So I guess if I'm looking forward to a vision of what that looks like, I'm primarily a nuts and bolts sort of guy. I come from a business background. My expectation is, when it comes to the city council as a citizen, is that the city does a very good job at what they do. The real basics, infrastructure, at roads, at funding at different levels, how they deal with the tax dollars, how they communicate with the public, how they manage the zoning and other issues that come up. And I think that the better that we do at those basic needs, the more pride people will take in their city. And a lot of the sort of amenities that come with city prosperity, maybe with the city beautification and such, a lot of that, in my opinion, a lot of that burden comes off of government when the community is much more involved. And I think that that's a big part of that process. So my vision would be primarily that involvement from the community becomes much more involved, to the point where some of the burden is lifted off the local government. Hope that answers.
All right, thank you. You are welcome to stay here in the council chambers for the rest of the meeting. Hi, Mr. Matheson. Per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then I will ask you 2 questions that were previously determined by the mayor and city council. You will have 2 minutes to respond to each of those questions. So please go ahead and begin your 2 minutes when you're ready.
Great, thanks, Nicole. Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'm proud to say that I live in West Valley. I've had 3 homes out here. I was here when the city was incorporated. In fact, I voted on the name of the city. I've raised 4 children out here. One of my daughters has a picture that's in the lobby out here that she's painted. My son is a decorated police officer with 23 years of service to West Valley. There's a lot of things I'm so proud of about West Valley. You know, when I pull in a 9-foot parking space, and I think this is so much more comfortable than an 8-foot. And then I look at Fairborn Station, and I think this is really a bonus for our city. It's so good. And I look at like the upgraded housing, and I really have to commend Mayor Lang for pushing that through. She was the one that really got that change of zoning going, and it's been a big boost to the city. I love the city. I love the people of the city. In fact, I've already bought my 4th home, which is Valley View Memorial. So I will be buried in this city. I loved serving on the Planning Commission. I did that for 21 years. I figure I attended maybe close to 500 public hearings during that time. And I think we really made some improvements.
For your 2 minutes are up. Here is the next question.
Thank you.
The first question is, why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
I'd like to be a member. I know how the council works. We've made many recommendations to the council. I support the city as a whole, and I support the council and what they've done over the years. I've known the mayors very well, and I do support them totally. And the council has done a great job if you look back over the years. And this council here is, even some of you are new, and some of you have been around and know the ropes. But I sincerely would like to serve 2 years on the council. I know the ordinances. I know the zoning for the city. I'm very familiar with building specs and what that involves. So I bring a background to the council of years of that background. I was a designer and designed many facilities within West Valley. I've worked with many of the directors, the city engineers. I designed the Lake Park, the roundabouts. Whether you like roundabouts or not, I like those. And I designed the lakes and waterways around Lake Park, as well as the roads. So I feel I would be a good addition to your council.
Okay, the second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
50 years from now, we will still probably be the second biggest city. There is a lot of places that we can still infill somewhat. And hopefully those are going to be nice homes. We do have areas for manufacturing as well. And we need to bring that into our city. And I see the city will grow, but not so much in population, but grow in the taxes. And it's good to have corporate taxes. If you're a city that just has residential taxes, those taxes are high for the individuals. If you look at Harriman, The taxes are so high up there. Our taxes are very reasonable. I think we are going to be one of the best cities to live in 50 years from now, because it will be modern. We will have modern homes. We will redevelop some of our older areas. And it's going to be great. The city will only get better. And it's great now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome to stay here in the council chambers for the rest of the meeting. Hello, Mr. Harvey. Per the process that has been outlined by the mayor and city council, you will have up to 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then I will ask you 2 questions that were previously determined by the mayor and city council. You will have 2 minutes to respond to each of those questions. So please go ahead and begin your 2-minute introduction when you're ready.
Thank you. Born and raised right here in West Valley. It's a great place to live. This is home. Over the many years that I have lived here on this earth, I know there's a lot of older candidates. I've had a lot of opportunities to be involved in the community, whether it was through church, Boy Scouts of America, through extracurricular activities, and professionally with actually forming a team that combined different high schools, Granger, Hunter, and Taylorsville, all into one team to compete in the state of Utah. So I've always enjoyed being involved and had many opportunities to do so. I've had many leadership opportunities as well. I was voted as Hunter High School senior class president for 2005. In my professional career with coaching 2 different teams, I've coached swimming and water polo. On the swimming world, I was voted in 2010 the female and male coach of the year. And in 2014 for water polo, I was voted 2014 male coach of the year. I don't bring that up just to say, oh, I'm so awesome. But it was just the point that in high school, in different occasions, even in professional, my peers and those around me has always been able to see the potential that I had and the hard work and things that I put forth in everything I did, going over and beyond. Last 10 seconds. The reason why I just want to be here right now is just to make the change in the world. Our world has changed the last 4 or 5 years, and I just want to be that change for the good.
All right, the first question is, why do you want to be a member of the West Valley City Council?
Perfect. I didn't finish out my 2 minutes, so I'll just continue going. Perfect storm. You know, I've grown up and I've thought about this, about being on the council. I actually helped many council members, their campaigns, that a couple of them actually ended up on winning their election and sitting on this council back in the past. So it's been part of my life, as I've thought about it for many years. In perfect storm, when I saw Mayor Lang, you were on the ballot to be mayor, and I knew you were our District 3 representative, I thought, hey, you know what, now, why not? Now is finally the time to do what I've always thought about doing and jump in. So everything has, like I said, the whole world has changed. There's a lot of intolerance in our lives nowadays, intolerance of thinking, intolerance of people who are different, and didn't want to. I was thinking about bringing this up, but unfortunately, our Hunter High School community did have a tragic accident last week. A couple of our own, their lives were taken, and what does it really boil down to? Difference, some arguments between others. And I want to get in and help us form a different view of government, help us put in, we're going to need a lot of mental health going out, not that we are actually physically doing it ourselves or putting forth the money, but advertising and getting out in the community and helping everybody that it's okay to be different. It's okay to have different minds. Communication. We need to talk together rather than shoot each other.
All right, the second question is, describe your vision for West Valley City 50 years from now.
50 years from now. I won't be here, and some of you may not be here either 50 years from now. I'm not planning on being around that long. But other than flying cars around the city and not having to deal with parking on the street issues, West Valley City's the second largest city in our state. I don't see that changing. What I do see changing is more and more diversity, more of what America is all about, our melting pot. That is going to be more and more prevalent here in West Valley, where the percentages of different size, shape, color, whatever you want to say, West Valley City is going to be different. Now, does that mean we're going to start building a whole lot of skyscrapers and we lose the view of our mountains? I hope not, but there's only so much land left. And so what else is there to do? Once we're all full, it's just getting it and beautifying the city. I know that the previous council, and I know that the council will continue to make our city great and beautiful. I know that we're making it accessible for sidewalks and everything, for all of the ADA approval things, and making the corners able for those disabled to do it. There's going to be more to help everybody so that everybody has a sense of community. Everybody feels the sense of home. I still live here in West Valley. I bought my first house here. I lived here. I grew up here. This is home. And West Valley is a great place to be. And 50 years from now, it will still be a wonderful place to be. And some of that will be because of what we will do the next few years here on this council.
Thank you. You're welcome to stay here in the council chambers. And that concludes all of our applicants.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kemick. I would like to personally thank all the applicants that took their time and put in for this position. I truly respect that desire, and I'm really thankful for that. I am now going to turn the time over to the council for a discussion or a motion.
I wish we had more than one position available. There were some great candidates. Thank you. I think that many of, not all of these candidates could serve in this position, maybe better than I could serve, or any of us. And we are lucky to have this to choose from. I was most impressed with Mr. Jack Matheson. And if it's appropriate, I'd like to nominate him as one of the men that we would narrow it down to.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second? Okay, it looks like that motion has failed to get a second. Do we have any other comments or motions?
I just want to appreciate your time and also for wanting to serve our community. It's we here is a great community, and that's why we want to serve this city, to bring the city to another level. And I appreciate your courage to put your name on this biders and to serve our community. So all of you is a great wonderful. And I want to go with William Whetstone's for motion. We need a second for that.
Second. Pardon?
Second.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
The motion is for William Whetstone. Great. Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Before I vote, can I ask on just a point of clarification? Is it possible to forward a motion for two candidates at once?
That would be for Mr. Pyle or legal.
My understanding, and Eric can correct me if I'm wrong here, but is no, unfortunately, that's not possible. But how we would get to that position would be is if we have a motion and a second and then a vote, which does not reach a majority, and then we had another candidate that also did not reach a majority, then you would have two candidates for that consideration, and state law would at then point have you have a vote between those two. But my understanding is that's the only way to get to that position. Is that correct? Yes. Okay.
Understood. Thank you.
So Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
No.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Mayor Ling.
No,
Motion fails for lack of a majority.
that's 3 and 3. Okay, do we have another motion?
I'd like to forward the motion in favor of Mr. Michael Finch.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Motion is for Michael Finch, Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
No.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
No.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Ling.
No.
Motion fails for lack of a majority.
Okay, do we have another motion?
So what was the count on those, both? Both of them were 3?
I want to bring it up, Rick Innocent for my motion.
I'll second.
Miss Cottle, sorry. We
I-
have 2 Nicoles and they.
Can you
both
repeat
have
the
same.
motion?
Yeah, I didn't understand. What was that?
Oh, Rick Innocent.
Rick Anderson? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can we have the roll call vote, please?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
No.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen, Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion
no,
fails
that's
for
right,
lack
right.
of a majority.
Was that 3 again? Okay.
I was doing this on purpose. Can you not tell we like you all? I would then advance a motion in favor of Matt McPherson.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
No.
Councilman Hune,
No.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion fails for lack of a majority.
Do we have any other motions or discussion?
What if we made a nomination for two candidates and we each voted out of those two to narrow it down? I'm not sure.
What would you suggest? What's the legal
Oh,
part of that?
But I think that's not fair for other three. I mean, other they already went through. Should do that for the first time.
Well, are you talking just the four that have been brought up so far?
I mean, no,
Mr. Norfeld? Okay.
So here's the procedure in the situation in which we're at, in which no two candidates have met that criteria of either getting a highest number of votes or a majority, right? So we have three candidates that are 3-3, correct? Four. Oh, I thought we were 4-2. So we have four candidates. Situation will be the same. So if you do not have two candidates that meet the criteria, you can, let me see here, suggest the council make a motion to move two individuals forward to a second round. So you would make a motion, pick two of those candidates, see if that motion moves forward to then another round in which you would take the vote.
Okay.
So let me repeat it back to you again, Mr. Pyle. We have right now 1, 2, 3. Each has three, four. Oh, four. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. But each has 3 votes. Correct?
Four of them have 3 each. Yes.
What did you say again? I only 4 council. We already done 1.
Well, each one has 3 votes each.
Right. So
now
go ahead.
Yeah, so now the council's choice would be to make a motion by any one of you to move 2 of those candidates forward.
Okay, we'll do. Let's do it. Make it go home quick. You know what I'm saying?
Or we could still make a motion for a single candidate who hasn't been nominated yet.
All right.
Right?
Yes, you could,
Or
because
repeat someone who's.
right, because you have not
Yep.
actually stated as a council that you cannot come to a decision. So that's correct. You could make another motion on a single candidate and see if the vote would change. That would also be it.
Okay, let's do it. I will move forward with the motion. There's the Rick Anderson and Williams Weststones for the next 2.
You said Rick Anderson and William Whetstone?
Yep.
Second. Well, can I say, before I say second, can we know who the 4 are, just so that we?
So we have William Whetstone, Michael Finch, Rick Anderson, and Matt McPherson. They all received 3 yeses and 3 nos.
So Will, Rick, Matt, and Jack. Is that right?
Correct.
No?
No. Go
Oh,
ahead.
Mike.
Michael
Yeah.
Finch.
All right, sorry.
So we move Rick Anderson and William Whetstone to the next level.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we'll turn the time over to Ms. Kamic for a roll call vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
No.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen. Councilman Nordfelt,
No.
Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion fails for lack of a majority.
I'd like to make a nomination for 2 candidates. William Whetstone and Michael Finch.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
No.
Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes for William Whetstone and Michael Finch to go to the next level of voting.
Okay. So now our next step is to
good.
take a motion possibly on individuals.
That's right.
And
So
see if
just
that
like
goes
you
through.
do or started out again in the first place, a council member could make a motion for one of the candidates to get a majority vote.
Okay. All right, I'll turn the time over to the council for a motion on that.
I motion for Will Whetstone.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
No.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes by majority.
Congratulations.
All right. So we will now turn the time over to the city recorder for the oath of office for our newest council member, which is William, and I'm never going to say it right, Whetstone.
Turn and face the audience. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and the Constitution of the State of Utah,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Now that you're an official city council member, you may come up and take your seat. And I do appreciate everyone that came out tonight to support our applicants. And I think our process worked really well, and I thank staff for that. They have done hours of research to make sure this worked fairly and quickly. And so if you would like, Mr. Whetstone, would you like to make the final motion of the meeting, which is to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye. Pardon?
Aye.
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 Oh, wait, what other motion do we have?
Resolution to appoint.
Oh, sorry. Nicole does not have that on my script.
We already adjourned.
That's all right. Thank you. And that's why I
Sorry, you
have
don't
people
get it
on both
yet.
sides to keep me
I
straight.
changed my vote to adjourn to no.
Okay, nothing on adjourning then. You're right. I'm sorry. Thank you
Okay.
very much for catching that. So as a council, we will consider resolution 22-11 to appoint council member Whetstone to our District 3, serve as a city council member for the term to the following, so really January of 23. Okay, after that, general election. Do we have a discussion or motion?
Mayor, I would move to approve resolution 22-11.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And Ms. Kamic, the roll call vote?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. Now, would you like to make the final motion?
Motion for adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. We stand adjourned. And thank you truly, everybody that came tonight.